What? Darren says. What do you mean she shouldn't? Why shouldn't she? Because no time freezing spell lasts forever, Melindra says. No matter how long it takes, the spell would still need to end at some point. But if you don't feel like waiting, you don't have a direct way of cancelling the spell. You could just try to physically interact with some of the people who are frozen in time. There is one thing that all time freezing spell have in common, and that's why you can't physically interact with any living beings that are frozen in time without triggering the cancellation of your spell. That's Rose starts to say, but she interrupts herself. Thank you, I will try that next time I trigger a time freezing spell by accident. Tell me, Melindra says, you wouldn't be by any chance happen to be a time weaver, would you? I am, Rose says, or at least that is what Aiden said when I first saw him. Oh, Melindra says, how interesting. Shouldn't we take it that you have met a time weaver before, Melindra? Darren says. I did, Melindra says, but it was during the still winter, and like I said, yeah, Darren interrupts her. You told Aiden that you wouldn't talk to anyone about the still winter for whatever reason. We get it. Could you at least tell us what you know about time viewers in general? Rose, do you remember what you were doing before the time froze? I think it might not be her. Because when she saw that everything was frozen, she must have moved, right? And if she moved, then the alarm would have triggered, like, oh, you're going out of the bounds and the spells will be cancelled or whatever, XYZ, because of what Aiden was doing. So it's not like she just stood there, right? Now let's ask what she knows about time weavers in general. Could you at least tell us what you know about? I was talking. I certainly felt a strong urge to vomit. I had to rein myself in. Although by this point, it was getting pretty obvious that I could no longer hide my condition about the others. Barry, is something wrong? Rose says. Oh, the energizer spell must have run out again. Melindra says. I guess I should be preparing for some strong feeling of fatigue to hit me in the next few minutes. Wait, energizer spell, Rose says. What is she talking about? Melinda spent the night in Barry's tent yesterday, Kate says, in a cold voice. They both used an energizer spell, but Barry never used one before, so he's experiencing some fatigue-induced headaches and nausea. Oh, Rose says, I see. So, Hadrick says, trying to change the subject. How things going in Thelius? That was completely pointless then. Didn't get an answer. They're not going so well, Rose says. We just found out today that Mr. Vinard has been assassinated. The arena owner? Who killed him? Nobody knows. I mean, he was probably going to die anyway because he decided to go against the noble from Ollander or whatever. Nobody knows, Rose says. There are plenty of rumors that none of them seem credible. The town guards are still trying to find the killer. I don't think they'll ever find him, I say. The arena owner was most likely killed by Lasethi. I know for a fact that he disobeyed their direct orders in order to help me and Layla. I don't think the Lasethi take kindly to insubordination. That's terrible, Rose says. Why would he choose to help you when he knew that what risk he would be taking? He said that he didn't care after what happened to him afterwards, I say. He wanted to make sure that the one arena event was perfect and he wasn't going to let anyone ruin it, not even the Lasethi. I see, Rose says. Rose, we hear Susie's voice coming from the transceiver. Kevin is being mean to me again. I'll be right there, Susie, Rose shouts. She then goes back to addressing us. Sorry, I need to leave you for now, Rose says. We'll talk again some other time. Thanks for the help. We all say our goodbyes to Rose and then she closes the transceiver in order to go deal with her siblings. So are we going to get back to our game, Hadrick says. I say we finished the round we were playing before we got interrupted and then call it a day, Darren says. I need to make sure that I get some sleep before a new storm comes out of nowhere to wake us up. After Hardrick and the others get done with their card game, we all went to sleep in our tents except for Iluna, who took the first shift. This time around, Darren made sure to lend Melindra a tent so she could get good night's sleep without any more interruptions. A little trouble falling asleep for the first hour due to nausea and the headaches, but after a bit of rest, the pain went away and so did my sleep problems. I woke up several hours later at the sound of Hardrick's voice, who came to tell me that a night shift was about to begin. Come on, Barry, Hardrick says. You're up next. I hope you're in the mood for drinking tonight because I got some Draven ale with me that are just begging to be emptied. Yeah, I think I should rather stay sober. I don't think we should be, I would normally not deny him, honestly, a drink, but it probably is bad considering we are in a headache situation. I'd rather stay sober, actually, just in case we actually need to fight someone. Suit yourself, Hardrick says. Hope you don't mind. I'll be drinking, though. Not at all, I say. Alright, Hardrick says. Let's get going. After getting dressed and grabbing my weapons, I follow Hardrick outside of my tent, and we both head towards a spot that gives us a good view of all the tents, without being close enough to wake up the others when we walk. The sky is now mostly clear of clouds, so it would seem that we wouldn't need to worry about another storm today. We both seat ourselves on trunk of two fallen trees. I really like Hardrick, honestly, even more than Darren. Hardrick is just chill. Darren is cool, don't get me wrong, but Hardrick is just chill. I really like being around him, honestly. Both seat ourselves on the trunk and two fallen trees that we are facing each other. Then Hardrick prepares to drink from the woven A bottle. Cheers, Barry. Hardrick says, cheers, I say as Hardrick starts to drink from his bottle. You know, Hardrick says, I was hoping that we could play a game or two of Medzek tonight with the original rules. Since you're not drinking, I guess I'm going to have to give you a small handicap. What do you say? Are you up for a round? Medzek, I say. You mean the card game that we played 3 days ago? The one that involved bluffing, which required you to drink a sip of ale every time you lose a hand? That's the one. Or Hardrick says, sure thing, I say. Let's go for it. So in the next few minutes, arranging the cards, then we start to play. I don't think this is a good idea. We are on a lookout. Shouldn't we be looking out? I mean, honestly, I would be even paranoid about looking up towards the sky to just chill out or close my eyes or anything, because I would be like, okay, someone could use that opportunity to sneak in and attack and shit like that, but you do you, I suppose. So in the next, the rules were just as complicated as I remember them to be. I don't really understand how this can be a game that's usually played in taverns. Normally you'd think that after a certain point, the players would become too drunk to be able to play the game correctly, or maybe that's supposed to be part of the game's charm, who knows. At any rate, there is at least one thing I know for sure, and it's the fact that I'm not very good at this game. Ever since we started playing, Hardrick has barely lost any hands, and my score is rather terrible. The good news, however, is that Hardrick eventually got bored of waiting to lose a hand in order to take a sip from his bottle, and he began to drink at random time intervals. The drunker he got, the less attention he started paying to his hands, and this had led to me somewhat even more matchup before us, even though I still need to win quite a few hands if I wanted to catch up to his score. So Barry, Hardrick says, as he places a card on the table, asking me, I've been meaning to ask you, what is your opinion on Melindra so far? You had your little episode with her in your tent, and aside from Flower, you seem to be the only other person that she's talked with in private. Be honest, do you ever manage to fit in the group? It's hard to say, I tell him, as I place a card on the table, facing up as well. I had a little discussion with her about this morning, but I didn't manage to convince her to stop antagonizing the group through her actions. She said that she shouldn't try to change the way she lives her life just to accommodate others, and that Aiden never had a problem with the way she was acting. I was afraid that she might say something like that, Hardrick says. The thing is that even if she were to start changing her attitude right now, a lot of harm has already been done, I say. Kate doesn't seem to trust her at all, and the others, well, I'm not sure about the others. But it's pretty clear to me that aside from Flower, nobody's really trying to be her friend. I know, Adric says. That's why I tried to arrange the card game before we went to sleep. I was hoping that maybe if they all got to talk to each other more, they'd reach some kind of understanding. I haven't had any luck so far, though. He then looks at his cards and he gets a confident grin on his face as he places one of the cards on the ground, facing down. The rules of the game state that you can interrupt any round at any moment to ask your adversary to turn all his cards face up in case his card is bad. His round will immediately be forfeited, and I would gain 5 times more points than I would have gained if I waited for this round to be over. However, if I do this, the card facing down was actually good, I would be losing 5 times the points that I actually normally use. So the question is here, is that did he place down a good card or a bad card? I think he placed down a good card, and he's trying to act like it's a bad card or something. Let the round continue normally. I let the round continue normally, and I place another one of my cards facing up. I was hoping that he wouldn't call me out. Hardrick says with a grin. Oh, I lost. Damn. He then places another card on the ground facing up, and he flips the cards that were facing down. Apparently, the cards that were facing down were incredibly bad cards, which would have won me the round if I called him out earlier. But in combination with the new card he's now placed on the ground, the card gave me an immense bonus, which practically made me lose the round instantly. Better luck next time, eh, Barry? Hardrick says as he begins to shuffle the deck. Whatever, I say. Once Hardrick is done shuffling the deck, he deals our cards and we begin a new round. Are we playing more? So anyway, Hardrick says that we both start to place our cards on the ground. I was thinking that maybe we could have a discussion with the others about Melindra. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to leave things like this until we get to Olander. It's bad enough that we'll need to infiltrate a heavily fortified city on our own. I'd rather not also have us fighting each other every step of the way. If we'll have another private conversation with Melindra, we'll just piss her off even more, I say. She's made it pretty clear by now that she has been bothered by all those times when we were excluding her from conversation because we didn't trust her. There's no need for us to twist the knife in the wound even more. How are we going to convince them to get along with Melindra otherwise? Hardrick says. I don't know, I say, but it's most certainly that wouldn't be happening. It wouldn't be through talking, but let's be serious here. If we simply have a conversation, would that have been enough to get this whole situation fixed? We wouldn't be here where we are now. It's through her actions that Marindra needs to earn the team's trust, not through words. Without anything you and I could say at this point would make much of a difference. As I finish talking, I take a look towards the ground, that I have the cards on the ground, and I suddenly realize that the round was already over, and I've won it by a fair margin. Congratulations on winning the round, Barry, Ulrich says, as I can see the sun slowly rising behind him. Now I think we should be taking a bit of break in order to greet our new guest properly. He will be reaching us shortly. He will be reaching us? Who? Who the fuck is coming? There's no... What? He will be reaching us shortly? Aiden should be coming. Is he talking about All-Ender? But that's not a he. That's weird.